Nice episode of What's Going On with Shipping. The container ship Wan Hai 176 loses power off the coast of Point Reyes, California. I'm your host, Sal Mercagliano. Welcome to this episode of What's Going On with Shipping. If you're new to the channel, take a minute, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. So, had a report yesterday that the container ship Wan Hai 176, outbound from Oakland for Seattle, lost power shortly after departing the port of Oakland. The ship was unable to anchor, was drifting toward Point Reyes. Tugs were dispatched to the scene, but fortunately, she's been able to get not just one, but two anchors out and is currently holding several miles just northwest of Point Reyes. Let's go ahead and take a look at the story. So this is the image of Wan Hai 176. You'll see her pitching really strongly in those swells. Big northwest wind right now, almost 40 knots coming in along with currents. And she's got both her anchors out, port and starboard. You'll see the Delta Billy, the tug there off her port side. And she seems to be holding right now. She's got a big, heavy strain on both those anchors. There she is. You'll see her from the Coast Guard helicopter right above her, taking a look at her. She's a Singapore flagged vessel. She was outbound again from Seattle, from Oakland, heading up to Seattle when the incident occurred that she lost power. She is fairly loaded at the moment with containers. Not sure if they're loaded or empty since she had gone into Oakland, probably offloaded full containers and loaded back on some empties at this point. Here's one of the initial stories from Fleetmon. Container ship Wan Hai 176 suffered engine failure at around 1400 UTC, April 8th. Shortly after leaving Oakland, bound for Seattle, the ship drifted to a coastline and dropped an anchor, had to drop second anchor to stop drift. Port tugs responded and assisted Wan Hai 176, preventing further drift. As of 1930 UTC, April 9th, she remained at anchor with two tugs nearby. Here is the Coast Guard report. This is the Coast Guard release from the 11th District, the Unified Command. Coast Guard California Department of Fish and Wildlife Office of Spill Prevention and Response and Marin County established a unified command to continue its response to the 564-foot container ship located approximately 7 miles off the coast of Point Reyes, California, Sunday morning. The Wan Hai 176 remained stable at anchor overnight while tugs transited to the ship's location. The towing vessel Stacy Foss arrived at 10 p.m. The tug Delta Deanna and Delta Billy arrived on scene around 2:30 a.m. to assist the ship. Due to rough weather, the towing vessels have been unable to deploy lines to tow the ship. You saw the pitching right there. It would be extremely difficult to get lines on them. And not just that, since she's holding right now at anchor, they would rather just let the anchors hold her at this point, then take the chance of them having to pull up on those anchors and she goes adrift and they're not able. Since she's holding right now, the best is to leave her there holding. Wan Hai 176, a Singapore flag vessel with 21 people on board, reported a loss of engine power and being adrift to Coast Guard Sector San Francisco watch standards Friday afternoon. Ship has approximately 39,000 gallons of fuel on board, which is approximately 8% of its total capacity, which is extremely low. I got to say, I'm surprised that they are that low on fuel. There are no reports of pollution. Wan Hai 176 is carrying miscellaneous materials in 783 containers and has no reported hazardous materials. None that they're reporting doesn't mean there's not hazardous materials on board. This is a Time Union story when it initially happened, I believe. This is from updated, but this is when the initial report happened, very similar. This is the vessel right here on marine traffic. Let's go ahead and zoom out here a little bit. So you'll see those winds coming out of the northwest pushing this way. This is off the coast of California here. Let's go ahead and zoom out a bit. Go ahead and take those weather barbs off so that's not in there. So wind and current are going to push her down that way. Here she is. You can see how close she is to Point Reyes right here. There's a scale right down here. There's 1 mile. So just a few miles off Point Reyes. There's the Delta Billy, that tug we saw in the video. And then the larger tug, the Stacy Foss, is right there. That's a larger towing vessel. For some reason, marine traffic is not picking Wan Hai's signal up. Here she is on Vessel Finder. Vessel Finder has the traffic separation scheme right here. So here's Oakland and San Francisco, come out through the channel and then proceed in the vessel traffic separation scheme to the right. And she probably lost power somewhere up here, began to drift southeast. You see the track of the vessel right there. If we zoom in there a bit, there she is. You'll see that track of the vessel where she was drifting, and then she was able to get her anchors out, put one anchor out that probably stabilized her, kept her drifting, and then she was able to drop her other anchor. She's showing at anchor right now with 0 speed, which is good. It means she's holding right now. You'll see the temperature there, about 50 degrees. The water she's in at the time, and then you see the wind speed out here, which is quite a lot. So she's dealing with a lot of wind and weather at this time. She is a fairly new ship, built back in 2016, about 21,000 deadweight tons. And she is one of many vessels of Wan Hai. Wan Hai is completely unimaginative in the naming of their vessels. They just number them. This is her track and her schedule. She sailed, last was in Oakland back in February. She then went to, she was supposed to go to the port of Shiko, but avoided that or missed it for some reason. Went to Kaohsiung, which is in Taiwan, on March 10th, then to Ningbo in China, and then arrived in Oakland on March 31st. She was at the berth on April 6th and off the berth on April 8th, supposed to be up at Seattle on April 10th and out on April 11th. Wan Hai is a company that's been around since 1965, Taiwanese company. Not exactly one of the big 9 companies that are in the shipping alliances. She's been hauling containers to West Coast since 2000. So not a large operator in terms of container ships, but this breakdown is nothing new. We saw one almost a year ago. Matter of fact, it was April of last year, where an APL ship, the President Eisenhower, lost power coming out of Seattle, LA Long Beach, right off Santa Barbara, nearly came aground off Santa Barbara. It was only about a mile or so off the coast. And a tug out of Port Hueneme was able to zoom in there, get a tow line on her, pull her out, and anchor her further out to sea. Right now, you got tugs on standby. Should Wan Hai 176 lose her anchors, start drifting again, they can get a tow line on her to try to get her further out to sea around Point Reyes. But right now, with that high wind and currents, they're probably going to leave her on her anchors, because the minute they pull those anchors up or start heaving on those anchors, she's going to lose her grip and take off. And what they don't want to do is, if she's holding right now, you don't want to change that. The President Eisenhower, I did a couple of videos on that. If you're interested in that, I'll link them up here to the show so you can take a look at them. My channel covers all things global shipping. So we do everything from Ever Given that went ashore in the Suez to Ever Forward right now in the Chesapeake, along with commentary and weekly updates on global shipping. So if you're interested, take a minute, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so be alerted about new videos as they come out. Leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, share it across social media, and if you can, support the channel via Patreon. So we will keep you updated if any new stories come out on Wan Hai 176. Fortunately, she's holding right now about 7 miles off of Point Reyes. So that's the latest information. Until next time, Sal, signing off.